Good morning. You're watching a special Facebook Live edition of the Blaine's World show. Ordinarily, we're on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on WPVM 103.7, but in this special Facebook Live edition, you can see it anytime you want. And I'm really excited about this particular show because we're going to be talking about an upcoming event with our three guests. They are Barrie Barton, Ginger Heubner, and Lyndon Harris. And the upcoming event is something called a TED Talk. And I guess, Barrie, I'm going to put you on the spot in the beginning here to kind of give a short overview as what is a TED Talk for the folks who don't know it.
So it's really important that we distinguish between a TED Talk and a TEDx Talk.
Okay, please.
So we fondly call a TED Talk sort of the mothership. That is the overall organization. But a TEDx event, which is what we're having coming up on February 27th, Building Bridges, Opening Doors, it's TedXAsheville, is an independently run event. So it's a group of community folks that have come together to organize this and bring on 9 speakers. But we have really very clear guidelines from, again, fondly, the mothership of TED, of how to run this. What are the rules, the regulations, the marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really helpful to have those guardrails when you're putting an event like this together. So that's the distinction between those two.
Okay, well, thanks for clarifying that, certainly for me. And Barrie, I'm curious in terms of how you got involved in this. I know you through your business, Stand and Deliver Asheville, and Barrie runs this company and does an outstanding job working with speakers of all types and presenters of all types. How do you get locked into doing this other thing now?
Right. Well, I would not, I don't know if I'd say locked, though sometimes it has felt a little locked. It was definitely by choice, a little bit with trepidation. But also I was ready in my professional life to really take a sort of a step up in my how I show up in my community. And where I am in my older age, I'm 61 years old, and looking back over my life, pieces of the puzzles that I put together is that my life has been about creative expression. So TEDx Talks fits right in alignment with that. It's also been part about lifting other folks, their brilliance and their wisdom and their creative spirit, and putting it on the stage. I did that as a dance educator. I did that with story choreography projects. I do that as a speaking coach. And now I'm doing it with these 9 speakers. So it was such an alignment with my values, with what I feel like I'm here to do on the planet, is really to put other people and their spirits, their message, their creative expression right in the spotlight. So.
And I don't know, we'll ask in a second how Ginger and Lyndon feel about this, but for the benefit of others, I'll say that Barrie is the absolute best at doing this, and she helped me on a presentation I once had to do, and I'm still very appreciative of that, Barrie. And so I'm wondering, you had to get 9 folks to do their presentations. How did you find these 9 folks?
Well, we had 149 applicants.
Wow.
And then I engaged 16 community folks, from UNCA students all the way up to some retired friends, speaking coaches, community leaders, et cetera, et cetera. And we went through a 3-tier process. First, it was an application, and removed some of the speakers out of the way and kept a collection of them. Second was, I think it was a little bit more. Oh, they had to submit a video. Right, they had to submit a video. Selection process, selection team looked at those, gathered the data, then we were able to move off some more. And then we had 16 left for one-on-one interviews. And these are the 9 of the 16 that were left.
Well, that's quite something. So I'll congratulate both Ginger and Lyndon. And so
Thank you.
How does it feel, Ginger, to be one of the 9 left?
Ooh, yeah, I feel very lucky and grateful and blessed for the opportunity.
And let's talk a little bit about the opportunity. But before we do, Ginger, in another life, when you're not preparing a TED Talk or a TEDx Talk, what do you do?
So I am the owner of Roots and Wings School of Art and Design here in Nashville. I started it in 2009. I also am a mom of 2 teenagers who were 2 and 4 when I started the school. It's kind of crazy. Now they're getting ready to turn 17 and 15. And I do my own artwork, and my process is called Create and Connect, and it's about cultivating connection through creativity. And that's what my talk is about and what I do for the other third of my time.
Now, had you ever done anything like this before, giving this kind of TEDx talk?
No.
And so what inspired you to even apply for the process?
So this is something that has been on my sort of dream list for a long time, is would I ever be in a place where I have something I wanted to say that boldly? And could I get the guts to actually apply? So I've thought about it, and I've looked at the different calls and there's always a theme, that the series is about. And I was never like really connected to nor was I really in a place for it. But the theme of building bridges and opening doors is very much a part of my mission through my work, whether it's through my school and teaching, whatever age, or through these workshops I do, or my own work when I collaborate with other people. It just felt really aligned. And so I thought, especially after this last 2 years, we've had a really tough time with the school, and it's been a hard path. I just felt like I needed to try. I needed to apply.
And your presentation is going to be what topic?
Cultivating connection through creativity.
Okay. And that's quite a step out to do this, so I commend you for just trying this. And, must have been the process, I see it similar to auditioning for a play. Had you ever gone through anything like this before?
As a kid in elementary school, I did plays. So okay. I am a teacher. I'm not afraid to talk in front of people. So I'll admit that, but this is not the same as walking into a classroom of kids. I'll tell you that. This is very different.
Well, anyway, I wish you a lot of luck, and it's going to be very exciting for the presentation. And I'll go to Lyndon, the same kind of thing. Lyndon, when you're not delivering TEDx talks, you do what in the rest of your life?
I'm a forgiveness teacher. So that's a shorthand way of saying what I do. I'm trained in a forgiveness methodology from the Stanford Forgiveness Project, and I work in collaboration with Fred Luskin, who wrote a best-selling book on forgiveness called Forgive for Good. And it's a wellness approach to living a better life through letting go of your resentments and your grievances before they kill you or before they make you more miserable than you are. I came kicking and screaming to this work. I had it all figured out, but I did a lot of work after 9/11 in New York, and then my life fell apart. And I was bitter about that. And this helped me reclaim my life. And so I have thought a long time about possibly giving a TEDx talk someday, and feel a lot of passion about that, and saw the call for application for this, and Barrie sent it out, and I sent my stuff in, and hoped and prayed and was so excited to get selected. And I'll tell you, your earlier comments about Barrie are spot on. I've given a version of this talk probably at least a couple hundred times over the past 20 years. This is different from all that. This is so much better.
How is it different?
I found Barrie 10 years ago.
Yeah. How is it different? How is it different, Lyndon?
It's different because it's more focused, it's tighter, it's kind of time stamped in a way. There's movement, there's narrative, there's an arc, and then there's it takes us on a journey, and then we get to a point and then there's a few minutes of impactful data to demonstrate what I'm trying to say. And she helped me craft that, and has done a beautiful job helping put this together. I'm really grateful.
Now, it's cool about you being a forgiveness coach in that I don't think I've ever met one before, so this is kind of nice that I'm meeting the first forgiveness coach. When you were a kid, did you always want to be a forgiveness coach? Is that what you wanted to do in life?
No, I kind of enjoyed revenge better,
Well,
But
how'd you get into it?
Well, I was the priest in charge of the church right across from the World Trade Center in New York City when 9/11 happened, St. Paul's Chapel. And I ran the rescue mission there. I started it and ran it for 8.5 months. And, like many first responders, my life fell apart after it, and I had to figure out how to move forward. I mean, I lost a lot of stuff. I left my marriage, lost a house in foreclosure. I had crap in my lungs from breathing in that black smoke for over 240 days. I was diagnosed with PTSD and depression, and I couldn't find anything to work. And a friend told me, well, you should forgive. And I can't tell you what I said to him in response. I slammed the phone down, but I called him back to apologize. And then another friend said, if you focus only half your time on how awful things are and the other half on the blessings in your life, you might live a happier life. And boy, sure enough, it really works.
And the topic of your presentation is what?
A journey to forgiveness.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell my story as it played out against the backdrop of 9/11, the aftermath of 9/11. But key to my story is realizing that it's the story of every woman, every man. We all have our struggles. The only conflict-free existence is death. And what we have to do is find a way to navigate conflict. And there are healthier strategies than what I was trying at the time, and I've discovered them. And now I'm zealous to share that wisdom that I'm learning.
Well, what's interesting is listening to both of you, it reminds me of a discussion I had even with Barrie the other night, and it reminds me of the fact that I'm hearing a book from both of you. I don't know if you've written it yet or planning to write it. I hope you are. But Barrie, it kind of segues into the fact that you're writing a book now too, or I guess it's going to be out soon, Barrie? And
yes, I think it just went to the printing press yesterday. So
Congratulations.
that is so awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called How to Make a Speech. And it's, one of the things that I shared with the speakers in the first orientation is that to be prepared to evolve a speech, to evolve a talk, but that the talk was going to evolve them. So they were going to go through a growing experience as well. And that sort of there's this conversation that goes back and forth between this thing that you're creating, and the thing that you're creating is actually having an effect on you and your evolution, your understanding, your wisdom around your topic. And I personally went through that in writing this book about how to make a speech. I continued to really learn more and more about who I was as a coach, and then more and more about how to work with people in crafting a speech, and so much more. But it's a 2-track growth experience for sure.
well, it's funny you say that, Barrie, because I remember that the one time I worked with you, we didn't work a long time,
Right.
but same point was I thought I had my speech completely in my mind. It was perfect, Ginger
Right.
and Lyndon. And Barrie was very gently but very persuasively says, well, hey, did you consider this, or what about this? And I said, wow, I hadn't even thought of it. So it was such an interesting process, Barrie, because I had never gone through it before. I guess I had never worked with a speech coach before, and that it was possible to change it. And I didn't think there was no way. But
Right.
once you accept it, almost, Lyndon, my experience is so similar to yours. Because I remember I was kind of angry with Barrie at first. I said, I delivered the speech, same thing too, maybe 100 times, and I had it down pat, and I didn't even think there was anything that could be done differently. But Barrie said, what about this? Or, so it's so funny. That's an evolving process.
Yeah.
And I guess tying into Lyndon and Ginger, in terms of your work, do you see a book coming out of it, or are you working on one, or have you written one?
Lyndon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Blaine, I wrote a book 15 years ago, and I never published it because it wasn't the book I wanted to publish. I'm reworking it now, not as kind of a day-to-day accounting of what happened after 9/11 at Ground Zero, but I'm writing it from the perspective of a memoir and looking back at what I went through and reflecting on it as I kind of bring in the journey to forgiveness. And I can't tell you how excited I am about this book as opposed to the other. I'm really excited about this book.
And what
hopefully it'll be out this year.
Well, what I suggest to people too, I don't know, Barrie hasn't done this per se, but I think that's great you're writing this, and I'd love to see it as well, I tell people one easy way, Barry, to get a book out is just start blogging and then put out a
Yeah.
chapter a week or something like that. Get
Yeah.
reaction to it, so you don't have to write 200 pages at one time or something. Or in Barry's case, I think you told me it's going to be 753 pages. Barry, your book. Okay, but so just I can't wait. But anyway, so just something I'd love to see the story. But again, people I think get hung up, Barry, that you have to write the whole book at one time. But just share it via Facebook or LinkedIn, wherever you share it. But I think it's a great story there. And same thing too, Ginger. Are you thinking in the back of your mind that there could be a book here?
I have not allowed myself to think that yet. But I think, to me, it would be, if that were to happen, it would be a dialogue between my, I think, works of art and words on a page. So I think that'd be how I think I'd want it to emerge, is a conversation between visual imagery and words.
And I love the idea in terms of, I just had a guest last night I interviewed. She's a photographer, animal photographer, April Johnson. I don't know if you know her, Barry, but she does beautiful work of animals, takes pictures of animals. And she did exactly what you're planning to do. She showed the pictures and she talked about the pictures. And it was I thought a fantastic way to tell her story. So for you, I see in the background, is that your art or your students' art?
No, this is my work.
Okay, so when we have you on the show separately, we'll kind of show it and then talk about it and how you came up with it. That'd be a great idea. Barry, so you have these 9 speakers. We've met 2 of them here. How do you put it all together?
You have 7 days, or so I've produced multiple shows in my life with as a dance educator, 2 high schools. I did 2 performances per year for 23 years. So I know how to put together a performance. I put together multiple performances with my group called Story Choreography Projects, and 5 of them were large-scale events at the Wortham Center for the Performing Arts. So I know this is like in my blood. I really know how to organize, big picture, set that curtained time and date a year from now or whatever, and then walk the path to do it. And there's so much that goes into building an event like this. I have a great team of folks, and I'm going to give a real good shout out to Vanessa Bell. She has been just a perfect partner to work with. We are committed to daily practice with this. We high five each other a lot. She's a terrific graphic artist, and everything that gets put out into the community goes through her aesthetic filter. Stephanie Swepson Twitty, she runs Eagle Market Development Corporation. She's also on the team. Terrific. I call her my love rock, because she is a solid woman and she brings such a spirit to this team. And Laura Wagnash, she is our sponsor lead. And we set a goal for $25,000 to raise, and Laura made sure we got there, and also talked me off of the cliff many, many times over the last year.
And
so
I certainly know Laura
counselor as well.
Who scores? She's absolutely great. Laura is.
Yeah, she is.
So
it's the team, and it's just knowing, how to organize everything. But I have to say, as I do everything as I've done with my story choreography and my school teaching, is creating community is so, so important. And that was evident in how I built the team and how I work with the speakers. We work as a team, we come together, we support each other. That is really important. And we've recently sort of welcomed back some of the former TedXAsheville speakers who are out in the community, invited them to a recent event called Pass the Mic, which was a kind of a celebration and a ceremony of taking our 9 speakers from where they are today and saying, we got your back, we support you, we're cheering you on.
And so talk about then the culmination of this at the February event. Talk a little bit about that and where and when and how can people see it or view it if they
So
want?
yeah, it's February 27th. It starts at 1 o'clock and it runs to 6. We'll have an intermission and time for some networking. We're also engaging to this year, unlike any other year. The audience is going to be participating along with us. So it's not just come, sit, listen to a speaker, clap, next speaker, clap. We are getting the audience to engage and participate in the whole afternoon with us. And that is really, really important to me and this team this year. So it's at the Wortham Center for the Performing Arts. Unfortunately, fortunately, we've sold out of our in-person tickets, but we do have live streaming. And the
Okay.
live streaming audience will be getting the program. And you can gather some of your friends and have your own sort of mini TEDx event at your home and do the engagement along with us, with your friends and family that are joining you for the afternoon. So
Can I ask you, because I'd be interested in this as well, but I may not be able to make it that time. If I
Yeah.
sign up for the live streaming, can I see it anytime?
absolutely, yeah. You
Okay.
can jump on at 1 and leave at 3 at intermission, then come back at whatever. I think that will work just fine.
No, but I mean, but could I see it the next day or something? Will the link be
Oh,
available?
No.
Okay, so it has to be that particular day. And if people want to get information, Barry, about the event or the live streaming, best bet is to do what?
Go to worthamarts.org. That's the Wortham Center for the Performing Arts, worthamarts.org.
Okay, and I'd like to ask the same question of Lyndon and Ginger. If folks want to find out about what you do more about what you do, as mentioned to you, we hope to have you on a BLAINESWORLD show just on with you specifically. But what's the best way to get in touch with you, Lyndon?
I have a website and all my contact information is there. It's just lyndonharris.com.
Okay,
And I'm on Facebook too.
Okay, that's Lyndon, Lyndon, Harris.com. And they can find out about the work you do and just find out more. Same thing too, Ginger. If folks want to find out more about you, what's the best bet?
Yeah, same for me. I have a website. It's just my name, gingerheubner.com. The last name is sometimes misspelled, so it's Huebner. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. But the website's really got everything.
Okay, thank you very much. And Barry, the same question I ask you, I'll ask you to repeat 2 things. One, if people want to get in touch with you about your business and want to get some excellent coaching on that, what's the best bet?
Website 2, that's Stand and Deliver Asheville, all of it spelled out, .com.
Okay, and so definitely worth checking out. And specifically back to this upcoming TEDx event, thank you for clarifying that. The best bet is to do what?
worthamarts.com.
Okay, and I kind of am looking forward to this as being quite a culmination of, how long have you been doing this, Barry, for putting this together? How long has it been involved? A year, and I think, and I think a lot of people think that, there's just a couple of speakers come together, just,
Right.
a couple of hours, and you'll do the show. And I can't believe how much time you put into it. Even Lyndon and Ginger, how much time have you been, when you got selected, how long ago did you get chosen and then to this point in time?
Was it November? Is that
It was
right?
beginning in November.
Yeah. So it's been ever since then, definitely like multiple hours per week and sometimes days just in a row because
Who would have thunk?
and Barrie has been amazing. I want to make sure I shout out that to her as well and the whole team. I knew it would be a process and boy, I can't imagine all that you're doing.
And same thing too, Lyndon, your actual presentation is how long?
15 minutes.
Yeah. So people, I think, miss that, to come to a performance and they see these 9 people, hey, a week or 2, and just throw it together. And since November, you've been putting this on, and you especially have been doing this all your life, and to have to, do you find yourself having to change it around a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Even like reintroducing the story to my muscle memory and telling it a different way has been really interesting and helpful. The TEDx strategy is a specific approach to doing a public speaking, and it's tight, it's refined, it needs to cohere. And so, there's no rambling. There's no room for ramble. If you ramble, you've run out of time. So yeah, Barry's been an excellent help in helping us focus.
And so
And
we're
the other
running.
colleagues too. Yeah.
So we're running out against time, up against time. So I'd like to thank all three of you for being my guests, a special edition on the Blaine's World Live Edition, and Facebook Live Edition. And I wish you a lot of luck in your upcoming presentations. Should be great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Blaine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blessings. Thank you.
Okay, so just we're off. We've stopped taping, but I just want to. This is fantastic. What I'll do is, I think you have. I don't know if you have my email address, or I can tell it to you, or I should have posted it. Hey, Cat, there's Cappy. But it's
Fantastic.
yeah. If you remember, wasn't it great? But yeah, Barry, I'm listening to this, and it's the same thing too. I'm thinking, hey, a speaker, 15-minute presentation. Give me a week on it, 2 weeks maybe, and then push. But I guess as you know, Barry, you'll see it. You've seen it. It's not a 15-minute effort. It's a little bit more than 15 minutes, Barry. It took.
Well, I tell them 15, but they really actually have up to 18.
Yeah. No. But what's incredible is that when you think about it, I'm just trying to find my if I can get where I find the to put in something. But what's incredible is that people don't realize that even though it's 15 to 18-minute presentation, since November and we're into February, it's a process. Anyway, guys, that was fantastic. I'll get the clip out probably today, and post it wherever you want. But Barry, thanks again for joining me, and all the two of you plus.
And I'll be in touch with both you and Ginger.
Yeah,
and
I want.
Lyndon
Yeah,
for future shows.
I want shows on them, so we'll invite you.
Yeah.
Typically, Cappy Needs is about a 4 to 8 week process, but unlike Barry, you don't have to work with us for 4 to 8 weeks. I promise. It's a 5-minute thing. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
This was great. Loved it. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, nice
Good
meeting
to
you.
see you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Barry.
Bye.
Cap.